Jesus is both clearing the temple and cleaning the temple to give a message and to restore that space to what was its natural intended for. What needs to be overturned in our lives, in our church lives. Now in COVID-19, things have been overturned. We can't go to our temples as we want. We are doing more Zoom, Bible study, and so forth. But it makes us think, what is the center? What is our description of our spirituality, what the gathering place means for us? What is those things that we hold so important in worship? And we find ourselves asking, what draws us towards God? Is it the Bible? Is it the prayer of the pastor? Is it the fellowship? Is it being able to sit there and feel close to God in the temple? What is it? So this inconvenient text describes Jesus as being very upset. Yes, Mennonites, angry. And I love that humanity of Jesus, because he sees something that is not right and makes a statement, a visual action statement of it. I want you to wrestle with that inconvenience. See where you go. Get at it at the end of the test. So the temple is the place of worship, is a praying place, but it has evolved through centuries as well. We see images of Jesus overturning the tables where the coins were, and the shares where those had the money and the power to exchange. Jesus shows his authority is real and is upsetting the structures imposed by economics of exploitation in the temple. The temple was the house of prayer. In Chronicles in the Old Testament, in the narrative of David view, David wants to build a dwelling place for God. Parentheses, God doesn't need a dwelling place. This was the idea of his humanity and his grandiose king. As a king, he wanted to build this. But later we read in 1 Chronicles that God says, no, you are not building a temple for me. Your son will build the temple. Now let's go back to the Matthew 21st narrative. There are 6 different group of people here. First, Jesus and the disciples. Second, the crowd that welcomed Jesus. Third, the sellers and the exchangers, the one they're doing the money exchange. 4, the blind and the lame. 5, the priest and the scribes. And 6, let's not underestimate those little kids running all over doing that beautiful sound. Of all these groups, the religious leaders, the priest and the scribes, and the business dealers in the temple are not happy campers. The others are recognizing Jesus' authority, but they don't feel threatened. These other 2 groups do feel threatened. Jesus' action is speaking up. Yet Jesus articulates what the prophet Jeremiah has said. My house has become a den of robbers. Now, if you pay attention in today's lection, there is a story about these little kids that enter this church and say, where is God? Show me where God is. So when people enter your building of worship, where do they encounter God? Where is the front point, focus point that draws them closer to God? What drives them into seeking God? Where do we recognize the presence of God? Now, most of our white churches keep worship places as a nice, plain, simple, and that's the beauty. Some of our Latino churches always have to have bright, beautiful colors on front, celebrating, and even the African American, welcome to God's house. And in my tradition, in our Mennonite church, we always had a place to kneel in front of the altar as we enter and encounter God. So there are different ways of drawing visually and emotionally into God. It could be that song, that hymn that will draw me to God. It could be that silence. But it is a holy place because we have made it a holy place. Jesus demonstrates his authority at the center of the Israelites' relationship with God, the temple. He is fooling around with something that's sacred, and he knows it. But there's an economical system that interrupted that holiness. Jesus saw this is a distortion of the holy place. What meant to be was not anymore. Describes well that place had become the den of robbers and refuge for thieves. A place where the poor that came to buy an animal for their sacrifice could not buy a lamb because they were poor. They will buy a few birds, just like Jesus' parents when they came to present baby Jesus. The invitation here is cleaning the temple, restoring it to his original purpose, to seek God. Listen to the songs of joy of these children, that they have seen and they know that Jesus is the Son of David, and it's here. Watch Jesus' righteousness anger. The profit makers dealing with the exchange rates, producing a barrier of the economical injustice between those who have and those who have not. In one question, can our struggle regarding the church affect our relationship with God? Meantime, Jesus is overturning tables and making us uncomfortable. What about overturning the economical investments that we have? Those things that maybe are not the way they should be. And we can pray, dear Jesus, help us to have justice actions and join you in this holy place as we are sinners and saints all together. En el nombre de Jesús. Amén.